Welcome to another Blossoming Together Minisode. Last week on the podcast, we talked about sleep with Emily Varon. So today I wanted to go through an ideal nap routine for one of my learners at the center. Oftentimes I feel like as BCBAs, we have early learners who are at our centers for full days and they require naps, but a lot of the kids get FOMO and have a really hard time going down to sleep. So I wanted to show you and bring you along for one of our nap routines that I do that just promotes sleep readiness. So here we have Rapunzel, and she is 2.5 years old and she wakes up at 7 in the morning. So we're gonna put her down for a nap around 1 o'clock. So since she's 2.5 years old, her ideal wake windows that are age appropriate for her is 6 hours between her last sleep and when she would go to sleep next. When considering naps for our learners, we always want to look at their age appropriate wake windows. So we want to look at how old the learner is and how much time is needed between when they woke up last and then how long they're going to be awake before we put them down to sleep the next time. So if we don't go by their wake windows, we might put them down for a nap too early, and then we're thinking that they aren't going to nap that day, but they're actually just fighting us because they're not tired. All right, guys, let's go start our nap routine. All right, so first up in our nap routine for Rapunzel is eating lunch. We want to make sure she has a full belly before going down for nap. Next up in Rapunzel's nap routine is coming into a quiet and dimly lit space. This is a space for her where we can provide her some downtime before we take her to go for a nap. The first thing in here, getting rid of the tablets. All jokes aside, we want to minimize screen time within an hour before trying to nap or go down to sleep in general, even at night. The blue light from screens like phones, tablets, and TVs, this creates stimulation for our brain and really delays sleep onset. All right, so first up in here for Rapunzel is swinging on the swing. This is a really great alternative to jumping up and down and running. Before we go down for a nap, about an hour before, we want to avoid activities like running and jumping because running actually increases our core temperature, which makes it really hard for us to fall asleep. It delays sleep onset. And then up and down vestibular motion. So jumping creates that up and down motion and triggers the vestibular nerve, which also delays sleep onset. Some other activities that we want to avoid that are similar to the running and jumping is crashing, wrestling, anything really that is really high in movement that will increase the child's core temperature. So some other alternatives to these activities that you can engage in and like similar to what I'm doing, like swinging with her, is rocking. You can do some deep pressure massages, anything that is going to actually be incompatible with running and jumping. All right, next up, we are going to read a book to Rapunzel. So in the dimly lit and quiet space, we really just want to do some quiet activities that will help get Rapunzel ready for sleep. So if your learner doesn't want to sit and listen to a book, you can do other activities like completing puzzles, stringing beads. You can even do some coloring with colored pencils or markers. Really during this time, we just want to do brain-intensive activities or fine motor activities that are, again, incompatible with running and jumping. Foxes come out to explore at night. All right, Rapunzel's ready for her nap. So first thing we do in the nap room is turn on her sound machine to reduce the noise from outside of this room. All right, and now I'm just gonna lay her down and tuck her into her blankie from home. Good night. Thank you guys for joining me for Rapunzel's nap routine. This is what works best for my learner, but keep in mind you need to develop your sleep routine based on your own learners. And when thinking about that, you want to base it on their interests and things they don't like you want to avoid within their nap routine. So when creating your nap routine, there are some things that we want to keep in mind. Number one, create a consistent routine that'll be followed daily between everyone on the team. So even if the learner has multiple technicians, everyone should be doing the same thing to promote that consistency that'll help the learner. We also want to create the nap time based on your learner's wake windows, the age-appropriate wake windows that match that learner so that we're not putting them to bed too early or too late. And then there are some things that we really want to avoid before taking naps. Number one is avoiding screen time within an hour of naps. We also want to avoid up and down vestibular motion. And then third, we want to avoid like running and jumping activities as well. Don't forget to like and subscribe and let us know what content you want to hear more about down below.